Progressive House.
If you've been around in the EDM community long enough, then you'll probably remember listening to the big progressive house tracks back in the early 2010s. Artists like VSTs, Sebastian Ingrosso, and Elation were all the rage back in 2013, and for some reason it's still one of the few genres that has really withstood the test of time. Also, big news! The sponsor of today's video is me! As many of you know, this is my full-time job, so to help me keep making these videos, I offer sample packs to you guys on my website. Like just recently, I released my Acapellas and Vocal Chops Volume 2 sample pack. It's got almost 30 completely original, royalty-free acapella stems that collectively spans over 35 minutes long, fitting almost any genre and key. And as a thank you to you guys, it's on sale for a limited time only. If you use the code YouTube at checkout, you'll get 25% off. Don't wait, you're not going to want to miss out on this. Also, guys, we're almost at 50k, so if you could just hit that little subscribe button, it would mean the world to me. And if you could ring the bell, even better. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into it. First, start by setting the project to 128 BPM. Working a little backwards here, I started the track off with the reverse fade of the main drop lead. Whoosh. To get the track started off with as much energy as possible, I play the drop lead with a low pass filter for 4 bars. I also played a one-shot. Some big crowd claps. Some cashmere drop claps. And a little metallic ride with some bounce to it. I also took some music-core atmospheric samples. These are great for really filling up the background of your track and making things seem less empty. I routed the same low-pass automation clip to the drop bass line as well. Working up from the bass line, I made some nice melodic chords on a piano. I also added a ton of impacts and sweeps for my sample pack. I also took some more fills for my pack with a second layer pitched an octave down to make the clap seem less clicky. Moving on from the intro, I added a ride to signify the beginning of the verse. I added a diva arp with some reverb and stereo width. Here's a cool little atmospheric trick to try. First, start out with a simple sine pad. Then, route it to the mixer and add a gross beat with a quarter note volume clip. I saw Brooks doing this once, so I figured why not try it. Here are some brass saws from Diva that have been phased out a little bit with some reverb. I also made a huge stack of pads and consolidated them to keep everything a little less messy to deal with. For the piano chords, I added an extra layer to the bass notes and increased the velocity. For the sub bass, I used a saw bass with some distortion and put a big low pass filter on it. For some cool ear candy, I rendered the piano and reversed them, adding a chorus effect and some reverb. I also made a custom clap fill for a transition. Here, I took one of the drop snares and low passed it in to help with the transition. Let's hear what the finished intro and verse sounds like together so far. I started off the build-up with a collection of brass, strings, and pianos playing the first chord of my progression and then consolidated it. Next, I added some sweeps and impacts. For some reason, this riser reminds me of progressive house, so yeah, add that too. Oh yeah, add this little laser riser thing because, I don't know, just do it. Here's what all my snare rolls sound like together. Again, fade in the main drop lead using a low pass filter, but make sure to only bring it up about 80% at the end so it doesn't give away too much. Think of the drop like a surprise for the listener. Here's a fill that I made with about 10 different snares and filters. Add in some more atmospheric loops. Let's hear what a build-up sounds like so far. Add this bass drum kick that's been in pretty much every single progressive house track. I noticed it lacked a little bit of high end, so I added this bright transient. Shout out Jonas Adden for this one. Here's what that sounds like together. Bring back the metallic ride from earlier. More cashmere drop claps. And some ultrasonic drop claps. What's nice about these is at the very beginning of the clap, you'll hear a short white noise transient. For this ride pattern, I followed the same rhythm as the main drop melody. Jazz ride from my pack. More one-shots and atmospheric loops. I also slightly detuned the one-shot. I brought back literally all the variants of impacts and sweeps throughout the beginning of the song and layered them at the start of the drop. Here's what all the drums and effects together sound like. I layered a sub saw bass and a gritty detuned super saw bass, and pitched them up at the end of each bar to make the rhythm feel like it drags you into the next bar. Here's about 69 layers for the drop leads. Nice. I also added some pianos and saws to fill up the background space, as well as adding a bit of a groove to them. Here's that diva arp again. Here's another pro tip. For the build, I added a high pass filter that slowly fades in by the end of the build up to make the low end feel more powerful when the drop finally hits. The same effect can be executed when using the stereo and mono mix on the master channel to make the stereo field seem wider when the drop hits. Little tricks like this can make a big difference. So now with everything together, let's hear this big wavy progressive house hit. Also check out my new song I Still Love You, link in the description. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like the music in this video, I just released a track called I Still Love You, and the link is in the description if you want to take a listen. And if you want royalty-free acapellas, I suggest checking out my pack in the description. You won't regret it. See you guys next time, and cheers.